In this video, I'm going to show you how you can retire within 10 years. This isn't a get-rich-quick thing. This isn't something that's going to magically make you hundreds of millions of pounds overnight like a lot of these advertisers show you and these gurus. That's not what this is. This is real life. This is a slow burner, how you can retire in the next 10 years. So most people have no plan. They're simply hoping for some cash windfall, maybe that's from a lottery win or inheritance or something like that, maybe a bonus from work. And they've got no roadmap. They don't know where they're going, so they don't know how to get there, right? So quick lump sums are great. But the reality is that lump sums don't retire people. What retires people is cash flow, income generation from either real estate, business endeavors, the stock market, paying dividends, things like that. And more recently, you've got yields from cryptocurrency, which we cover quite a lot in our Thinking Wealth Dynamic Investment Hub. We show you how to do these things. But that's essentially sort of after you've got money, right? So let's start with the mindset first, because vitally important that you think in the right way, in the right positive direction. This isn't a positivity video, but it is important to have your alignment with the right ways of thinking, okay? So let's start with long-term thinking. Things don't happen overnight. They don't happen every 30 days, right? Things happen over time, prolonged periods of time. Human beings seriously underestimate the personal growth and likewise the financial growth that we develop with consistent good habits over prolonged periods of time. And with prolonged periods of time, I'm talking 5-10 years, not 1 year, not 2 years. I'm talking 5 to 10 minimum, really. Because that brings in what's known as compounding. And compounding is the ultimate, to me, of long-term thinking. As Einstein said, compounding is the eighth wonder of the world. And who are we to argue with Einstein, to be honest? So if we can shift our habits and focus 10 years from now, the results that you have then looking back will astound you. You'll realize why you did what you did looking back in hindsight, right? So for example, if you put £200 away in the FTSE 100, I believe that was, the average is 7.38%. So in 10 years, that will be £35,811.83. That's if you put £200 into the FTSE 100 for the next 10 years. So £200 a month, right? For 120 months, that's 10 years. You will get £35,811.83 or dollars. Obviously, the FTSE is a British index, but that's not an exciting figure. I understand that, right? That's not going to excite you to put you in enough pain in order to take those actions. I understand that. But if we go an ounce further, right, and we look at the power of compounding here, if we do that again for another 10 years, if we continue that £200 a month habit, on month 240, we're up to £110,000. So it's a little bit more juicy. Now, once again, 20 years of investing £200 a month, you end up with £110,000 and on and on. But if you do that for 30 years, you end up with £266,000. Now, that's more than most people have in pension funds at the end of their working life. Okay, now 30 years, if you're, say, 30 years old and you do that for 30 years, on top of any other pension plans you might have, on top of any other investments you might get into, on top of any other business endeavors that you might start and sell and whatever else you might do, you will end up with over £250,000 in the FTSE 100 after investing only £200 a month. Okay, and as you get into this habit, you sort of don't realise you're doing it. You just sort of put that £200 as if you don't have it, right? So notice the power of compounding there. It started with around 36,000 up to 110. That was a 70 grand, 80 grand increase. And then it gone up to 266,000, which was another 156 grand on top of that. Now, if you match your contribution, the £200, if you increase that with inflation, obviously that'll be a lot more than the 266 over 30 years. But just get the picture here of how powerful compounding can be, okay? So we have to start thinking in timescales rather than just thinking the immediate future, the next 6 months, the next 12 months, right? Because our actions today dictate how our life will look in the years to come. So the habits that we hold ourselves to is what we become in the next 5-10 years. Okay, so you think what we think today is what we become in the next few years. So let's get into that habit of putting away money. For example, in this context, putting away money, you will not miss that money in the near future. So if you start putting 100, if you've never put any money away at all to start investing in whatever asset, just put a little amount today, 50, 100 quid a month or whatever, and just get into that habit of doing it, right? So now let's get into the practical things. The first thing that I'd suggest to do is to create a monthly expenditure figure. So the average monthly expenditure of a UK family is £2,500. But obviously work that out for yourself. Generally speaking, the further north you go in the UK, the less that'll probably be, because if you're down in London or down the south coast, it's more expensive to live than it is up north. So work that out for yourself. If you're single, if you don't have a family, if you do have a family, obviously everything's going to be different. Just work that out for yourself. Generally speaking, it's a lot lower than you actually think. You can lower it quite easily, but just work that figure out so that you can comfortably live, with a bit of fun money, let's call it as well, maybe 10, 15%, whatever you want that to be, and just come up with a bottom line figure of what your expenses are each month. Okay, so from this, you've got a base on what you need to be covering every month from that income generation. Yeah. Whatever those investments are, as we mentioned at the beginning, that figure can be hit by these income generating assets. Okay, so the next one, get into a positive cash flow position. Now, this doesn't sound like rocket scientist, but you'll be astounded at how many people have more month at the end of their paycheck than more paycheck at the end of their month. Okay, so lower your expenses or increase your income. It's as simple as that. Now, for speed, it's easier to decrease expenses than it is to increase income, right? It's more difficult to increase your income than it is to decrease your expenses. But don't make you lazy by thinking that, right? Be creative and try and increase value to people in the world, which will inevitably give you another income stream, right? Multiple income streams. If you can increase your income just by, creating a little side hustle, maybe eBay or selling on Amazon. It doesn't have to be some huge, massive enterprise to begin with. You can start selling things from your own basement or whatever that's just been lying around. You don't need to create the next huge organization here. All I'm saying is anybody can make a few extra 100 quid a month fairly easily. I'm not going to speak for everybody, but it isn't as difficult as what you might think it is. So get creative on things that you're good at, you're passionate about, and maybe offer these services or products to people. Set up a website and start selling them. You'll be surprised at how you enjoy the creativity that you'll get from doing it. So just get going with that. So increasing your income, just start a little side business on top of a job if you've got one, or if you need to increase your income and you've already got a business, what other income streams can you bring in to the business, or can you plug in another business on the side of it? Just get creative with your thought patterns. And another one, just as I mentioned before, just commit to putting a small figure away every month. We can talk about all the income generating assets later, but the best thing we can do at the moment is to just get into those good habits. The psychology is more important than earning, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10% on small sums of money in the very short term. In the long term, of course, that will pay big dividends. But if you've never put money away before, or if you've only ever put small amounts away, just lift that a little bit. If you've never put anything away, then just start with 5% of your monthly income, 10% of your monthly income, and then grow from there. It's like someone who's looking to quit smoking. Sometimes if you just, certain people need to just completely quit cold turkey. Some people need to gradually wean off it. And this is the same thing. So if you've never done anything before, just start small and work your way up. If you're, your little side business that you might start, your little new income generator begins to bring in a few £100 a month, pump all of that into this investment account, whatever that is. Just get into that habit, get into the psychology of holding yourself accountable. And if you need a coach or you need somebody else out external to you to hold you accountable, then get one. Even if you could even class that as an investment in yourself. Another practical thing you can do, and it sounds, again, it's really simple, is just learn and educate yourself on how to start a business and learn how to invest. You don't need to be spending thousands and thousands of pounds on courses and so-called gurus on YouTube and all this, most nonsense, right? To get a grasp on what's going on. Of course, people who have got niche areas of expertise, they cost money, and rightly so. People in the marketplace should charge for their money. But you can get a grasp on the basics of wealth creation and personal finance on YouTube, like videos like this, and in books. It's not rocket science. It's just that we haven't been taught anything really at school and in the schooling system at college for the average person to deal with. So in 10 years, with a bit of discipline, with savvy investing, you should be in a position that your income far outweighs your expenditure, and obviously get that expenditure figure today. And technically speaking, at that point, you can retire. Now, I think you can do that a lot sooner than 10 years. I think it's 5 years very possible. I know it's possible. But work at 10 years, work at the long term. But let me make a suggestion to you, is that when you hit that retirement figure, the last thing you'll want to do is retire. And I say that from my own life because I hit this, what some call financial freedom figure or expenditure figure or whatever you want to call it. I was 23 years old. And I can say that people don't want to retire when they love what they do. So when you get there with your little side business that might now be a full-time business, you might have gone up in the workplace depending on what you're doing, your life changes, right? And you react and you adapt. You probably won't want to retire in 10 years, in 5 years. If you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life, as the saying goes. You'll never retire. Warren Buffett, I think, is over 80 now, and he's still in the office every morning, investing in different stocks and whatever else. All you need is long-term thinking and a roadmap. That's all you need. And that is available on YouTube. You don't need to be paying thousands of pounds for it. But I can assure you, I can make the suggestion that you probably won't want to retire when you hit that figure. In the meantime, please make sure you subscribe and check out our pre-launch website. That's going to be in the description below. We are changing the way that personal finance and investment information is shared to people. We don't think it needs to cost thousands and thousands of pounds for people. And we are currently in pre-launch. This is, I think it's our first video that we're actually doing on YouTube as a bit of, content for you guys. So check out the link in the description below. Check out the podcast where we put all of our conversations we have. Thank you for watching. Please sub. Please do all that other good stuff on the podcast and Apple and Spotify and all that. I'll see you in the next video.